Hey everyone, it's Hyper here again. It's came to my attention that people don't know how to use the manifest files in order to gather the paths for the game or for mods. It's pretty easy, so I'm just going to make a quick video about it. I get questions all the time and modders get questions all the time, and it's the same effort for us to get the information for you as it would to just get it yourself. It's slightly easier because we know what they're named, but other than that, it's the same amount of effort. So asking a modder or whatever, other than just them knowing how to do it, it's the same amount of effort. Sometimes there's already like a spreadsheet or something made, but 90% of the time I forget to make those. So unless it's just like a popular public mod or sometimes premium mods, there's probably not a spreadsheet made. Sometimes people will make them for modders and stuff, and then we'll just host them, but a lot of the time we don't already have one. So anyway, I digress. And this is how you would find the information yourself. So I'm just using my Note and Ascension Unlocker Potion mod. This is the CurseForge page for it. For me, I just go to dashboard and find it. For you, you would search it and browse, and you'd go to ARK, which is here, and then you would find the mod. But anyway, you just end up on this page, and then you go to download. I've already downloaded it, so I'm not really going to show you that part. But once you do that, you just right click it and then extract all. I've already extracted it before, so I'll just replace the files so we get an updated one. That's fine. Now you can do this, USF files. This is every asset inside this mod. And to people that didn't make the mod, I mean, this can be intimidating, but it's really not. What we're looking for is, so this is the shooter game, and then mod file or mod folder, and then this is my mod folder. And then the content folder, which every mod has a content folder. That's basically just, you don't have to worry about that part. For my mod particularly, I have the notes grouped by number because they correlate to an index and a list. So if you're looking for the note that gives the 900 through 1200 notes, it would be this one, which is primal item consumable note giver 1200. The .u asset or .u exp, you don't have to worry about that. That's just not important for this at all. They're basically the same name, and they would come out to the same BP path regardless of which one you used. So basically, you can scroll through here. You can see there are engrams. Some of these things as the player or as a server owner, you probably won't know what they are. But primal item consumable, we can assume that that's probably consumable. In a lot of mods, there's probably going to be a base class, which that's what this is the just that. So if you go to spawn that, I would have this open while you're in game, and then I would, figure out what the spawn command is or the path, and then I would spawn the item and make sure that's the item you're looking for, because if you get the base class, it's not going to work the way that you want it to work, or it might not be the thing you're looking for. But yeah, so like boss data, I'm pretty sure that the data table, boss player or boss's player buff, that's a buff, obviously. And a CCA, like you're not going to want a CCA, and then that's NS stands for Niagara, at least for me. So it's in an FX folder. That's probably a particle system or something. So you just kind of have to use some context clues. And I don't always name things like in a good way. So if you're looking through my folders, it could be named something ridiculous. And in that case, you could try spawning it. If it doesn't work, I mean, in that case, you can ask. Like it's validated to ask at some point. Like if you go digging through these files, you can't figure out where it is. That's okay. Like I'm not expecting you to like never ask, but I think it's reasonable to expect people to at least try, which is why I'm making this video, because lack of resources and information, like that's not your fault either. So I'm making the information available. So another way is to just use the find. So primal item, most modders will use this naming convention. So primal item, and then like kind of whatever it is. So consumable, structure, armor, you can kind of just figure it out by that. So this mod uses potions. So it's primal item consumable and then underscore, whatever name it is. And usually there would be another underscore mod ID. In this case, I didn't do it because I named it something weird, so I didn't feel the need for a mod ID. And then here we have a tooltip widget. Tooltip is a UI. I didn't add like underscore UI, but a tooltip is a widget. I know that's a UI. All these primal items here, these are specific boss potions. So dragon all, probably like alpha, beta, and gamma dragon potion. And then we have dragon alpha. That's probably just the alpha, beta, gamma, and there's going to be 2 files for each one of these. Again, it's the U asset and then the UEXP asset. For your cases, it doesn't matter which one you would pick. Let's say we wanted this one, so we're just going to grab this one up to the dot, and then I'm going to make a new thing here, get rid of that. So if we find what a path normally looks like, I grabbed this spawn item command from one of my other mods, and so this is what we would typically try to find, or like what we need to spawn the item anyway. So we cheat give item and then quotation and the mod name. So we have the mod name there. We don't have a content folder, so I'm going to copy this so you can see where we start and where we end up. So it looks like we don't need this part, and then we can get rid of this content bracket here because we don't have one there, which, like I said, every mod has a content folder, so that makes sense, and a little bit redundant, so it's okay. And so we have the mod name, we have the file, another file, and then the primal item, and then there's a dot primal item. So we're saying look through each of those folders until we find the item, and then we have dot and then the selected item. So as you see, primal item structure, admin cosmetic ascended, dot, and then this is the selected one. So basically folder, or folder, and then file, technically folder, kinda, dot, and then selected whatever we actually wanted inside that. So this is the path, and then dot selected item, effectively. So we have folder, and then like technically folder, but dot, this is what we wanted. And then to make that a command, we do quotation, and then we add our cheat give item to the beginning, and then we add our parameter stuff to the end, and then boom. So now you know how to use the manifest file to find whatever item you want. This also works for engrams. So you just have to know how to take the manifest information and turn it into whatever you're looking for. And then also the other questions I get a lot are, you know, new dinosaur saddles. Like Lost Colony just came out, so I was asked what the Soulwind saddle was, or like what the engram was, or, you know, any of that information. And fun fact, ARK has a manifest file for the base game information. And keep in mind, this is based on the version you have downloaded locally. So if you haven't updated ARK in, you know, 3 months, then you're 3 months behind on whatever update it is. And if you don't have, say, Ragnarok downloaded, or you don't have Scorched Earth downloaded, none of that information is going to be in your manifest file. So you can't, like, you're not, if you don't have Ragnarok downloaded, you're not going to be able to find the blueprint path for the Ice Queen, or, you know, whatever you're looking for. If it's from a DLC you don't have downloaded, you won't find it. That's just how that works. But you go to your ARK game download, which is here, and I don't actually have it on the account that's here. This is my streaming account for Hunt Showdown, but I have it downloaded on the computer, so I can still do this. I go to browse local file, and then I have it open in a different tab here, but that's all you have to do. The manifest files are here. We can actually close that one. So you just browse local files, boom, you're here. And then we want the USF files. The non-USF files are like other stuff, like media files and stuff. And then open that up, and then this is actually packed full of other stuff. It's literally everything in the entire game. So I do suggest using the find or find next, and then we can try and guess whatever they named it. So Soulwind, so could not find Soulwind. Okay. By Soul? Okay, so solid. I don't know if I actually downloaded Lost Colony, so we'll do something else. We'll do Velonosaur, which is Spindles. There we go. So Dino Color Set Spindles. Obviously that's not the BP path, that's the color set as named accordingly. There's 2 of those, so yeah. And then we have a status component, not interested in that. Dino entry, again, we're not interested in that. Engram entry, so if you're looking for the engram entry for the spindles, it's right there. And you can just parse that down. You can just figure out what a normal engram entry looks like, and then you can use your context clue stuff for that. Tamed inventory, we don't care. Extinction, so that's a curve asset. We are not interested. AoE bullet drop, not interested. Buff information, attack state. I'm just reading what these are. Wildcard is actually pretty good with naming conventions. Some of them are really weird, and the creatures are named after they're made, usually. So they go through, you know, a whole bunch of concept, and people start working on them prior to like a final naming. So like Spindles is a Velonosaur. Like they didn't name it Velonosaur VPC or whatever. It was named Spindles. That's a very common thing for most games, honestly. So, and the file naming conventions are pretty decent. When you actually get into the dev kit and stuff, it's not nearly as good. but the surface level for this is fine. It looks like there's a whole bunch of stuff, which it looks like we're in animation. So primal consumable eggs. We have the non-fertilized and the fertilized egg there, if you're interested in those. I have all the rig assets, which are not useful for you. We can actually just scroll instead of doing it. So here is the Volanosaur character BP, and you can see that because it's Spindle's character BP. And yeah, so that's how you would find it. And again, if you wanted to parse it, you would get rid of the shooter game and content. And I have command here. So we have the cheat, spawn dino, blueprint, and then game, lost colony. This is actually the one for the Solwyn. I had it available because I helped someone else find it. But so we see that we need the blueprint and then game, lost colony. So it looks like we can get rid of this one. There's no content. We don't need a content. And then shooter game gets modified to game. And it looks like we can just steal this blueprint piece here and add that first backslash. I did a / because I'm stupid. And then again, so this is the files. So game, extinction, dino, spindles. And then this is technically a file, but since it's a path, it has to land on something. And then you do dot, say we selected that one. That's the one we wanted. Technically redundant, but it's just a reassurance that that's the one we're looking for. And these are the parameters for the command, and then this is the command itself. There you go. And then that's how you would find a creature command from the base game. Can't really think of anything else. So if you're trying to find, paths for beacon or anything, that's how you would do it. That's the manifest files for mods, and that's manifest files for the game. And there are ways to there's programs that people have made that does this faster and easier for you. They're not perfect. In the past, I have used AI, ChatGPT. I'll just throw in the manifest file and I'll tell it to find the different entries, which ChatGPT is quite good for. And that way I don't have to sit there and search through all of them. As a mod creator, you can go through and parse your own if you want. That's actually really easy. And in the past, I've made it where it adds a text file for server creators or runner, people that own servers, basically. I forget to add that code in to a lot of my mods, but it's not that hard. There you go. Quick and easy video for everyone.